gonna spawn in so many Genjis and Levi Scouts, man.
Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the sword tutorial. I'm gonna go over the basics first, and then I'm gonna explain some more advanced tech, and then I'm gonna explain how to use it. For my binds, the only thing that's different really is I have jump bound to mouse wheel down, which I use all the time to b-hop and lunge hop, which I'll explain later. To start off, the basic attack does 88 damage. It's good for finishing off opponents, but not good for initiating fights. The lunge does 120 damage, is a 40-degree camera lock, and it propels you about 9 meters forward, as you can see. Quick melee deals 40 damage, and it's good to throw in the middle of combos. It's important to note that all these attacks also multi-hit, so the basic attack, the lunge, and even quick melee. Some combos, so for light, you can lunge and quick melee, that's probably the best combo. You can also hit 2 left clicks, or a lunge and a left click if you can't finish them off with a quick melee. For medium, the fastest combo is lunge, quick melee, basic attack, quick melee. You can also do 2 lunges and a quick melee, or a lunge and 2 left clicks. For heavy, you can do a lunge, a left click, and a quick melee. A lunge, a left click, a quick melee, a left click, and another quick melee, or just 3 lunges. For the tracking dart combos, on a medium you can do a lunge, a left click, a quick melee, and a tracking dart, or you can do 2 tracking darts and 2 lunges. Also, if a medium's just respawn, they spawn with 125 HP, which is enough for 1 lunge and a tracking dart to finish them off. The most basic tech with sword is the lunge hop, so if you lunge and then jump at the end, you get a lot of speed. You're going to be using this to get around the map a lot. Another basic tech to know is the super dash. If you lunge and dash at the same time, you get a lot of speed and distance. If you look up, you get a lot more height, where if you look down, you don't get as much height. So when I'm moving around the map, I'm going to lunge and then slide and then lunge and then slide. Maybe throw in a few super dashes and b-hops. Just try to maintain my momentum. A good thing to know about the lunge hop is if you do it up an incline, it gives you a lot of height. Slunge, if you slide and lunge at the same time, it's called a slunge, and you can get through gaps like this while lunging, so like that. If you add a jump to the end, it's called a slunge hop. It's not that useful, but this is how you used to get around the map. At the end of the lunge, you can actually turn and still deal damage. I call this helicoptering. So if you spin your mouse around really fast, you can hit multiple people at the end of your lunge. So for example, if I want to hit this light and I go by them, I'm going to spin my mouse and I can hit them. If you add a sideways dash to your lunge, I call this an L lunge, because you go in an L shape. So you can drag your hitbox along this wall, so like that. You can also dash backwards while you're lunging, good to know. You can dash half sideways, any way you want to. So if you combine the L lunge with the helicopter, it'll look something like this. And as you can see, I went from here and dashed over here, and I did a 180 and still hit them. This is super useful for hitting lunges that you can't normally hit. If you gadget swap while lunging, it'll cancel the lunge damage, but it'll also cancel the cam lock. So when you're going around the map, I like to just gadget swap so I can look around and direct my lunge a lot easier. For example, if I'm running from somebody, instead of having to sideways dash and hope I get in that window, I can gadget swap, and then I can look directly at the window, and it's a lot easier to direct where you're going. While you're lunging, you can't actually climb surfaces, so to negate that, you can gadget swap. When you quick melee, if you gadget swap after the quick melee, you can cancel the animation, so this is super good for all the combos. If you lunge off a Dorito pad, I call this a Dorito lunge. You can redirect it. So as you can see, I can go multiple different directions off the pad that's supposed to launch me the other way. Lunge hop super dash is where you combine a lunge hop and a super dash. So if you're on an incline like this and you lunge and jump and dash at the same time, you can get some crazy speed and height. Multi-direction super dash is basically a lunge hop super dash. You just do it in multiple directions. So for example, I'm going to lunge and then I'm going to jump and then I'm going to dash backwards. So like that. You can also do this sideways. You can also do this on flat ground, but it's not as useful. The timing is very specific on this, so it's only really used for like movement, air lunge. So while you're in the air, you can actually lunge at people. This only works in specific spots of the map, but on the new map, it actually works everywhere, as you can see in these clips. It also works here in the practice range, so you can practice it. If you dash up while you're falling down, you can lunge. So falling down, lunge. This does work on most maps. You just have to be very low to the ground for it to actually work. So for example, along here, you can do it, but you have to be very low to the ground before it actually works. An air super dash is a super dash in the air, so if I do an air lunge and dash at the same time, I'll do a super dash. As you can see, I get a lot of speed and distance from that. But while you're in the air, you actually get no speed besides when you're actually air lunging. So if there's somebody standing like right here, I could just jump up and hit them and then dash into a window, knowing that the lunge won't propel me at all. If you're going off of a big pad, instead of dashing off the big pad, you can just lunge. It gets you similar distance. A good tip to know is if you're running the box, instead of just running with the box and like dashing, you can use sword movement while you're running the box. So if you bounce the box off the ground and then lunge, you can just pick up the box after every lunge. Another good thing to know is carrybles are your best friend as a sword player. So for example, a glitch barrel, you can disable light's movement, but with any carryable you can deal damage. So if you deal damage to a light with a carryable, there's just one lunge. It's very useful. If you're going up a zip line, instead of just going straight up it, you should jump off and then reattach. This will make you a lot harder to hit. If you slide off a surface, you can chain them together like this. Basic movement tech you should know is how to window climb. So on all these windows, you'll be raised up once you stand in the middle. When you're on the raise part, just hold space and you should climb up to the second floor. If there's a potted plant in the way, sometimes these windows have plants on the end that don't allow you to climb, so you'll try to climb and it won't let you. If you jump and quick melee, you can break the plant. And if you combine that with a gadget swap, so you jump, quick melee, gadget swap, you can break the plant and climb the window all in one motion. It's really good to know. So putting this all together, if you're fighting somebody, you're always going to want to be in their blind spot. So for example, on this guy, he's looking this way. So his blind spots would be anywhere along this side of him. So if I'm coming from this direction, I'm going to lunge at him, and then I'm going to dash back into his blind spot. I'm going to lunge past him. I'm going to dash back into his blind spot. Or you could slide, you could jump, any combination in order to get out of their line of sight. It's important to learn the slide timing after a lunge or after a dash. So for example, if I lunge and dash backwards, I can then run and then slide again. I'll be doing this all the time while I'm dancing around opponents. So for example, I'll lunge past him, dash here, slide back this way. And that's basically all there is to sword, just making sure that you're always out of line of sight, staying behind them, being fast as possible, doing as much damage and getting out. For gadgets, what I like running with sword is tracking dart, gateway, goo grenade right now. I'll also swap out the tracking dart for H infuser if we don't have any heals on the team, maybe we have 2 heavies. Nullifier is also a good pick since you can take someone out of the fight, isolate targets. For example, if you're fighting a heavy and he does a lot of damage and you have no chance of killing him, you can just null him and then leave. I see a lot of people running smoke with swords so they can smoke off the objective and their teammate can steal while they just kill everything inside the smoke. Vanish bomb is very good, especially with goo grenade, since you can throw a goo grenade, vanish, climb up on the goo, and you're like 100% invisible while you're vaulting. I see breach charge used a lot as well. It does a little bit of damage and it's good for stalling the objective. Gateway, as I said, for engaging in fights and running the vault, whatever you need. And goo grenade is just great overall for providing cover and escaping situations you shouldn't be able to get away from. You can also use the goo grenade to stall when you can't do enough damage. It's an instant stall. Besides that, I wouldn't really use anything in here. You could use whatever you want. Pyro grenades alright, frags alright, glitches alright, but I just prefer using tracking dart, gateway, goo grenade, null, H infuser. Those are probably my favorite picks. Now I'll go over some VODs just to show you my thought process behind each play. Here I'm getting shot in the back, so I throw up a goo and a vanish so I can get some intel. I move up to do a little bit of damage before the vanish bomb ends. I deal a little bit of damage to the heavy and drop so I can regen. I quickly climb back up so I can get some more intel. I see the whole team up here, so I drop because I know I can't take that fight. Unfortunately, I get lock bolted. I use a lunge hop while lock bolted in order to get some height off the pole. This gives me enough height so I can dash and hit the medium. I get launched into the air and I'm forced to use one of my 2 dashes in order to get down quicker since I'm very vulnerable in the sky with half HP. I get the pick on heavy, but I'm still half HP and have no dashes, so I lunge to cover. Once I get my regen, I lunge back in so I can deny the res. I use 2 left clicks since it would take longer to charge up a lunge. I pick up a red barrel to try to hit the heavy, since if I hit him with the red barrel, he'll just be 1 lunge. Unfortunately, I miss, but I have 2 dashes to deal with the heavy. I lunge and instantly dash sideways so that he misses his shot, and then I just need 1 basic attack to finish him off. Then the light walks into my lunge and I just finish him off with a dash and a basic attack.
Oh, nice.
Here my teammate's dead, my duo's in trouble, so I'm gonna go try and help out.
On me.
I see he's low HP, so I try to run in as a distraction. Fortunately, I don't get there in time, but I see all 3 enemies, so I go in anyways to try to get some multi-hits. I get 1 pick and hear that the medium's low. I know at the end of this winch I can get a free basic attack in, so I spam my left click.
Actually, 1 tracking dart.
At this point, the heavy doesn't have enough ammo to finish me off, and I know that the medium's 1 to a tracking dart since my teammate is calming it, so I switch priority to the medium and then back to the heavy. I hit the heavy with the tracking dart while he's leaving to stall his regen and just jump up and finish him off.
Oh my god.
Nice.
This is a fight against my Ruby friend Lotus. I have a lunge ready, but I know at the end of this lunge I'm going to stop directly in front of him, so I throw a dash into the right to throw him off. At this point I'm behind him, so I know I have enough time to charge up another lunge. I throw in a slide just to make my movement a little unpredictable. At the end of this lunge I know I'm going to be far away and he's hit a shot, so I'm going to stay at a quick melee range and finish him off with the dart. I have 1 last dash to use, so I use it right when I think he's about to shoot, and shoot 2 quick shots to finish him off. I see them padding up, so I drop down not to give them any advantage since there's not much time left on the box. I try to stay grouped with my heavy and keep him healed. Unfortunately, our other teammate got picked, so I'm gonna go look for his body since it fell off the roof. I have a gateway above point in case they start stealing. I set a red barrel next to the trophy so I can take it with me through the gateway. I hear them stealing, but I have plenty of time to finish the res, so I finish off the res and take the red barrel through the portal. I throw the red barrel onto the point and do an L lunge. Oh my god!
my god.
Wait, did you get him with 1 swing?
Thank you for watching. If you want more videos like this, let me know. Shout out to everyone in the Discord. We just hit over 100 members. I also occasionally stream on Twitch if you're interested. All the links will be in the description. Thank you again. Peace out.